Probably the song that's the dearest to me on this record is For Your Splendor. And that's because God took me through a very painful but sweet process before I started really writing and really recording this record. I kind of had a lot of stops and starts. I had some songs ready, went into the studio, thought I was ready to record, and the Lord very graciously just kind of shut the door quietly for me and just said, I'm glad you're ready to write, but that's not the record I want you to write. I have something else for you. That's one of the sweetest things I think I've learned is experiencing Him and trusting Him means that I have just the greater ability to share Him. I think just experiencing things first, there's just power when you're able to share it later. And it's, I think, impactful for people, that you're around. And so I'm so grateful, even though the process was painful for me, for Him to say, actually, I want you to just kind of sit and rest for a while. And I want you to remember me. I want you to remember the covenant that you have with me because of Jesus. And I want you to remember that you're my daughter. And remembering that who you are is not what you do. It's who you are in me. And that's where I want you to lead from. That's where I want you to write from. And He kept giving me this analogy of the tree. I've had that for years of just Him. That's ministered to me more than anything, of just that it's the roots and not the blooms in us that grow the branch that bears fruit in our lives. And I think as women especially, we try to tend to the outside. And, even there's a lot of pride, I think, in how we want people to perceive us and how we want to appear. And even our spirituality, we want to have these blooms that, are impressive to people. And yet the Lord just keeps showing, through Scripture, all throughout Scripture, just the tree of life. And in Ezekiel 47, the trees that are along the banks of the river and the water that flows to them flows from the sanctuary. And it says that their leaves are for healing, and the fruit is for food, for people. And that's beautiful. And I'm thankful that He wanted to do that process in me, and for me to take time to remember who He is and to let Him peel some layers and to literally cut some things away from my heart. For Your Splendor was just such a personal process, but in the end, I think it's been one already that I've heard so many women come up and just say, that song in particular, I'm pretty sure you were reading my mail and you wrote that just for me, and I think there's something to that of just, it's so beautiful to let that process happen in you, though it's painful. In the end, I feel like, He loves us enough to want us to bear the fruit that He has for us and to show the world that. And so yeah, it was just, I think, this greater opportunity for me to trust Him in every area of my life and not try to control. I don't have any control anyway. Sometimes I think we feel like we have control, but we don't. But just trusting Him with the greater story by laying all of it down and just me saying, okay, God, I'm going to wait for you. I'm going to trust you. In the end, now, His timing and just the release of this record and how all the stories of these songs have woven and how He's shown the greater story of it all, I'm just amazed. So it's been beautiful.